Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. We are live with our QPR latest news and updates for the DB show. How you lot all doing this fine Sunday evening? As you can tell, it's a big week. It's a very big week next week. Back to pre-season games next week. Can't wait. I actually genuinely can't wait. We have Friday off next week to get prepared, and then Saturday QPR go up against, I believe it was, let me just double check. I think they go to Austria this week, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If we go to matches quickly, if I can find it, that is the question. More matches. It seems Google have removed it. Okay, well, I genuinely can't remember who we go up against. Let me just double check. This is bullshit with everything. Yeah, so we got first Vienna. We do. I believe that is in Austria. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be anywhere else, to be honest. But yeah, welcome in. Who got in the chat first? What's happening, DB? Hope you're good. Pete says, I'm all good, man. Paul says, even DB, how are you? Was happy to hear Walsh is going to Wigan on loan for the season. Now hopefully get a new goalkeeper quickly. Nick says, hi DB, how are you, Nick? Hopefully you're okay. Sorry mate, Seed, I just saw your message now. Sorry mate. Orlando Gill as new goalkeeper, please. So I do know that you've been commenting on the shorts. I do know that. Don't think I'm ignoring you or not seeing it, because I have. It's just I've been really busy with other shorts editing and stuff like that, so I haven't been able to get to do anything to do with any of the ones that you've been requesting to look at. You also said since Walsh is going to leave, we will literally have 0 first team goalkeepers. There is a plan for that. There is a plan. Hopefully we're bringing Ivan Nevestic. Well, there's been all quiet with the goalkeepers at the moment, but let's get straight into it and dig in, because everyone knows, as the thumbnail says, big news came out of QPR yesterday. It was either yesterday or 2 days ago. Joe Walsh, Wigan are chasing Joe Walsh. I don't know if it's a permanent transfer. Right now, it just says loan. So, now the fact is this. Now, hang on. Right, I need to do this. You stay there. Right, so the fact is this, right? Joe Walsh was, accordingly to last season, with what everyone was saying, was that he was Julian's number one. He was. That was the whole thing that was said. Joe Walsh was Julian's number one last season. Now, Nardi has been pretty much kicked out of the club, I would say. So Nardi has lost that opportunity. You have Joe Walsh, who obviously took his place, who was ahead of him, and clearly looks like he's not wanted this season. Really clearly looks like he's not wanted. So it looks like Walsh is going out on loan to Wigan. I don't know if it's a reason for the sense of he feels like he's not going to get first team, or he's been told he's not getting first team, or he's not in the team choice, or they just want him to get experience. And go from there. Now, obviously, with him going to Wigan, now obviously Sam Tickle did go to Bristol City for a big hefty fee. He did. So that's pretty much why we didn't get Sam Tickle in. But Solomon this week also did sign a new contract with QPR. Now, obviously, they must really rate Solomon. I'm not a big fan of his. Haven't really seen him in a great way for what I can say. But right now, the only keeper that we have pretty much is Murphy Cooper. Now, whether he decides to keep Murphy Cooper this season, Murphy Cooper this season to just see how he does, thinks he's done well on loan and thinks he has the experience to fight for that contender number one. Now, 100% I'll sit here and say, I reckon we will be going in for another goalkeeper, whether that is Nevestic or whether it is a different keeper. I'm not too sure. The only conversations really that have been brought up with goalkeepers is Nevestic. So yeah. Sam Tickle obviously went to Bristol City, as I've said already. But Nevestic looks like a Julian keeper in my opinion, you know. I can't see him saying a lot because, you know, I've only seen clips, you know, and the way Neversidge plays, it sounds like it's the way Julian wants to play, in the sense of when you speak to Julian, well, not speak to, when you hear Julian speak about his way he wants his playing style for his keepers, he wants to play a lot of counter-attacking football, and he wants a keeper to be good in the box, good with his voice, good at kicking, good at passing, and all of that. Neversidge hits those tick boxes, in my opinion. When he steps up, he looks like that guy on the clips that I've seen on YouTube, where he focuses a lot. When he gets that ball, he looks for the nearest person on the wings. He does. And that might be a good shout for us if we ain't going to go in for anyone else. But right now, he's the only keeper that has been brought up in transfer rumours for QPR. I can't think of any other keeper. I personally have always gone on about last season, and you guys know this, I'm a big fan of his, is the Stoke City keeper in Johansson. You know, Victor Johansson is a very standout championship keeper who did really well last season and the season before that. Did not know much about him since that, but as we know, when he comes to QPR, as in Loftus Road, to play against us, the keeper is freaking phenomenal. You know, he reminds me of a playing style of Julian Speroni from Crystal Palace, if anyone remembers him. You know, when he came to QPR, Julian Speroni at Loftus Road, when he played against us at Crystal Palace, he looked brilliant. He looked really good. So, in my opinion, this guy, like the Victor Johansson, that's the type of keeper I want to see at QPR. Someone that is not afraid to get stuck in, plays like he's very big in the box, to stop them goals going in, and very good on the bounce of a ball. So yeah, but it looks like Joe Walsh will be announced to be pretty much Wigan on loan or Wigan full transfer. I'm not too sure, but he's definitely on his way out. Joe Walsh is, it looks like it. Hopefully he does well at Wigan. It's actually a good move. I can see it being very, very big, not big club for like as in huge signings, but it's a realistic signing for Wigan. You know, I know they've lost Sam Tickle, but to bring in a keeper like Joe Walsh who has championship experience for their sake is pretty decent for them, I think. You know, they got a lot to do next season, Wigan, and hopefully we can keep an eye on him if he does go out on loan to Wigan, and we can keep an eye on him all season, see how he does. You know, he's also made a lot of enemies at QPR and a lot of positive people as well in the fan base. So a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him, a lot of people think he's not great at goal for QPR, and a lot of people think he's okay and just needs a loan spell. Now for me, you know, Joe Walsh has pretty much done well in the last couple of seasons, being a development side player and also being a player pretty much on the bench. You know, he's had some good games for the first team. He has highlights, I could say, pretty much West Ham away in the cup, absolutely phenomenal in that game, and then obviously in the last couple of games of the season as well from there. You know, he really controlled the game really well against West Ham. You know, very brilliant saves, very beautiful saves. So yeah, I'm hoping to see that Walsh come back to QPR one day, but right now we need to focus on now, and that is bringing in a first team keeper that has international experience or a lot of potential in the sense of appearances for experience, if that makes sense. You know, we could sit here and say a championship keeper, but it looks like Julian wants to look at signings that are either free agents or realistically in a good budget if they are available at that time. So yeah, going on from keepers, let's just have a look at the comments, what you lot are saying about Joe Walsh. Pete says, finally Walsh is gone for now. Hopefully we bring in Ivan Neversidge. I think I read that already. Yeah, Neversidge would be class. Walsh was spotted in Wigan training top. Not sure. Have not seen anything on Twitter or Google or anything like that about that. Chip off the block. Good to see you, mate. Even TV, hope you're well. What's the gossip? Well, we'll get into that more in a second. Let's just finish off the comments. Walsh one is alone. Cheers, Seed. Do you think Murphy Cooper will be number 2 for the season? I think he will. You know, look, anyone that's watched this channel from last season can understand with what I say about Murphy Cooper in a positive way. You know, he did extremely well at Barnsley. I wanted him back at QPR in January. I didn't want him to go back out on loan, but he did. He went to Sheffield Wednesday, and he did all right with Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday obviously got him getting relegated, and it looks like they're going to lose their main keeper back to Man City. You know, I'd be very shocked or very surprised to see if Murphy Cooper does go back to Sheffield Wednesday, you know. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep updates and tracks on that. Which one is it? Walsh is alone. Do you? Hopefully not. Pete says. Pete, I don't think he's a big fan of Murphy Cooper. I want Will Stonway. I don't know who that is. I'll be honest with you, unless you spelled that wrong. Will Stanway. I'll have to look in a bit. Do you see Steve Cook has joined Wickham? I did. I'm not surprised that Steve Cook has joined Wickham, in my opinion. You know, it's a good signing for Wickham. Experience. He's at that age. Probably a big wage that he's had to give to him as well. To basically get him in that club. You know, I think he's a brilliant. I had a feeling he wasn't going to be retiring from football just yet. You know, unfinished business. We'll see what Wickham do next season. You know, they have an opportunity now to have some experience and understanding of where they go next season. So yeah, I want a championship proven goalkeeper, Paul says. That is pretty much with what I was saying with Johansson. Off topic, but why is Steve Bold still with us? Lone Nick says. I'm not sure. Listen, I can't really badmouth anyone in the club. I don't want to badmouth. I actually don't want to badmouth anyone in the club. Look, I know Steve Bold has done really well at Arsenal. You know, unless we get an answer in understanding what's going on in the club with the defensive issues and the injuries, and obviously, you know, we always, and I do it as well, we always look at blaming the people that are involved in the defense to help them, and Steve Bold is one of them guys. You know, personally, I like Steve Bold at Arsenal, I did, but I don't know what's going on at the club with the defense, so I can't sit here and just kill him off. I don't know what's going on with Steve Bold. There was obviously conversations saying that he may leave to go to Bristol City, but it's all gone quiet at the moment. He's still at the club. He's been pictured training in the club, so at the end of the day, he's still a QPR coach. So yeah, Welsh keeper, I'll have a look at him in a bit. What's your opinion on Christian Nuri? My opinion on Christian Nuri is always, I love him. I'll be honest, I think he's brilliant for the club. I don't want to lose him. We got to put, I stated on Twitter, we need to put a buyout clause on him. Look, Brighton are going to go in for him one day. Watch. Brighton are going to want him. Brighton are going to want to snatch him. 100%. I like Christian Nuri. I think he's a great business person. He's good with QPR. He's done brilliant. He's been involved in, since coming into the club, he's been involved in some amazing transfers for us. You know, he's put the club back on the map, in my opinion. The ownership back him. I back him. You know, we're now a multi-club ownership, pretty much. And we just saw Noah Can actually go to the Marinas. So, yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit, though. We'll talk about that in a bit. If we get right back and go through your defense is sorted, do you think Boy Kemp will be a regular starter? Pete, I will answer that soon. I will, because I wanted to. If we're going to be talking about other positions, we got some big news, because we got some stuff saying. Oh, Patrick said we signed Vizina goalie of the World Cup. I don't know what's going on with that, I'll be honest. Listen, look, for the last couple of weeks, it's been quiet since Boy Kemper, right? And there's been rumours of some World Cup players being at QPR that are interested in. But before coming onto here, there was an article just come out. And it's about the right-back scenario. So we'll talk about the right-back scenario right now. So the two names at the moment that are on the list is Josh Key. And the other guy is, I believe, is it Gonzalez or something like that? I believe it was. Let me just double check for a second. So it was Josh Key and Nolan Galvez. I think it's Galvez. Yeah, Galvez. So obviously everyone knows Josh Key is a right back for Swansea City. He is very championship experience, very good right back. Would it be an exceptional signing for QPR? 100%. Absolutely agree, because he's got the experience, you know. So my motto is this with right back. You know, we need someone that can work the way that Julian wants us like what he's done with Boy Kemper. Boy Kemper seems to be a complete wing back where he likes to run up and down the pitch, get into the box, cross the balls and stuff like that. We need that on the opposite side as well, on the right back. Josh Key, I wouldn't say he's a pacey person. He's probably the same kind of as Boy Kemper, where he's very classy, he can deliver a ball into the box. And that's probably what we're going to be looking for in a complete wing back, where we want someone to whip the balls in, be good at set pieces, and that's where we're lacking, if anyone knows that. Now, obviously, Josh Key, I can't sit here and say I know amazing things about him, because I can only tell you certain things with what I've watched with him in the Championship. You know, he's a very well-known Championship player, one of the stars at Swansea. No one wants to lose him at Swansea 100%. They're probably, if he's a free, then okay. I think he was a free, I'm not too sure. But I also think it could be money as well. I'm not too sure on how it is. But then we have also been interested in Nolan Galvez. Now, Nolan Galvez is a French right back who plays for, I believe it was Rodez. Rodez is a French League 2 club who finished 5th last season, and I didn't know much about him till today. So before I jumped on, I'll be honest with you, I had a quick glance. I really did. I wanted to see what he's about. You know, I know there's been talks of him. He's actually Millwall are very interested in him as well. So there was an article a couple of weeks ago of Millwall and QPR both chasing this guy. You know, they're both interested. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go to Millwall, because Millwall are pretty much the ones that, in my opinion, are chasing for signings. You know, we're probably taking our time at the moment with certain things. But Galvez looks very interesting. You know, I can only go by with clips with what I've seen. Like I said, always, I'm going to repeat myself constantly, because I don't judge a player completely until I see him on the pitch. You know, preseason is the ones that I judge, you know. Everyone knows this from last season. I do it again every season. So, for what I've seen for Galvez, complete wing back, very good at pace, very pacey, likes to get up and down the wings, very good on the ball, very good at crossing. He delivers a lot of balls, takes corners, takes set pieces, and the balls that he delivers, for what I've seen, are pretty decent. You know, he's a very good crosser on the ball. I wouldn't say he's an inside forward. An inside wing back. He's more of a complete wing back, where he likes to stay on the wing, which is kind of what I've seen and what Julian wants. So, very reasonable. And he has scored goals for that club as well. So he looks like a very good finisher on the ball. But the main thing that obviously I like about him is that he's a very good tackler. Very good interceptor and tackler. He seems alright on the ball. Very good confidence in himself, you know, for a young lad at 22. So yeah, we'll talk about, when we get more information about the kid, we will talk more about that. But that's as far as I can speak about him. I don't know much about him, as I said. Don't know who he is. I'm only going by quick research with what I've done today with the article that came out. Obviously, I should have done it when, obviously, it came out a couple of weeks ago, where Millwall were interested in him. But right now, the main key aspects of right back signings at the moment is Josh Key and Galvez. For me, you all know I put a short out the other day. There's only one right back that I want, and that's Terry Devlin. You know, Terry Devlin is a proven Championship player, very reasonable. You know, he's rated as a big price tag at the moment, 3 to 4 million, I think it was, maybe a bit less. But he seems like a player that I've constantly won at QPR. You know, I'm trying to push more media on my channel for him, so that we do the same as what we did with Ronnie and Harvey Vale and going from there. But I don't think we're going to be interested in whatsoever. I think right now the main thing that we're interested in is Josh Key and this other guy. But I think Josh Key could be a potential one that we definitely go for. With Galvez, the only reason why I say he might be a favourite is because he's French. You know, Julian, obviously coming from a French nation, the French nation, I should say. You know, he's probably going to be looking in that French league a lot. You know, Brentford did it. They got Mbuemo from there, from the League 2. So, it's a big shout. And at 22 years old, he'll be a good price tag, and then he'll be a good price tag in the future for us if we do sell him on. So, I can understand the business aspect of him going from there to us. So, yeah. But that's the only right back scenarios that I can see at the moment going on at QPR. So yeah, there's been a lot of comments today. I'm not gonna lie. These last couple of shows have been absolutely killing it. So thank you guys for tuning in, man. Honestly, before we continue, yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, man. Honestly, we do this every Sunday. We're gonna be live Saturday with our live watch along. So you know, hopefully I should say that yet, because they haven't announced it to being on TV Prem, the QPR website yet. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. Let's continue with these comments with what we were going on from, because so Pete, I've spoke to you about the right back and the goalkeeper now. It would be great to get them, obviously, two areas signings are done. You know, the main focus is really fullbacks, really. But I really think we need the keeper as well for our defensive ability. You know, we got Liam back, but Liam, I'll be honest, has not been in any pictures, I don't think, or videos of training. So I'm a bit worried that we ain't going to be signing him, keeping him. Patrick says we should sign Vizina. I think I've read that already. Vizina is way too old. We need resale value. Paul says, yeah, I agree. It's too old for us with our model now. If we do sign an old keeper, it would probably be the same age as Nardi and something like that. Pico Lopez, we should sign him. Owned Messi in the World Cup, Patrick says. I'll be honest, I've not been watching that much of the World Cup. I'll be honest with you. It's dead. I'm not enjoying the World Cup at the moment. I really ain't. And I reckon England might get knocked out tonight, this morning. So yeah. Gavez can do the job as right wing back. He would be my go-to. Okay, best tell Pete. See, Gavez has a good delivery. We need some experience though. Look, I agree with that. Josh Key would probably be the one that we end up getting. Orlando Gil, the Paraguay goalie, is also awesome. Nardi is French and JS doesn't like him. Yeah, but JS does. Do you know what the thing is with Nardi, right? JS didn't really like him at Rennes either when he was at Rennes. So it's no surprise with what's happened there. Paul says, I hope we go Key from Swansea. I think he's a good right back. Well, look, at the end of the day, whoever we go for, at the end of the day, Josh Key is more of a 26-year-old with experience, where the other one is more for resale purposes in the future. So yeah. Teddy says, World Cup is so boring now since the 2008 one. It hasn't been the same. The only reason why it hasn't been the same for me is social media. I think there's too much social media influencers like ISO Speed and all that getting involved in it, where I get why they're doing it, because obviously it brings views. But to me, it's you know, in my opinion, they don't know shit about football, you know. ISO Speed just knows Ronaldo, and you know, going from there. If you're gonna get involved in get social media influence involved, but the thing is as well, I feel like American are taking advantage of it because they're treating it like the Super Bowl and NFL, where they're bringing all this stupid shit like they did back in the 19 whatever it was in America, the World Cup in America before, where they do this whole show of music as well involved in it, which is the most stupidest thing in my opinion to do. You know, they're gonna treat the final as like the Super Bowl, which is gonna be so annoying. You know, and I'll be honest, I'm not enjoying it whatsoever. You know, England have been, look, people know I'll come off topic with QPR quickly. England, my opinion right now, is shit. It's that simple, and it's not because just players. It's because Tuchel as well. I've always stated Tuchel is not an English manager. He is a good head coach, but he's not a great international manager. You know, I didn't want Tuchel at England, and it's not because obviously he's German or what, but in my opinion, I still do agree in the sense of like, you either have experience in the Premier League like he has in 5 years, or you're English manager, in my opinion, to become England manager. But I'm dead bored of this whole playing style that we're playing at the moment, and you know, I'm not gonna watch it tonight. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'd rather just get sleep for work tomorrow, and find out that we've been knocked out by Mexico because of some stupid we can't breathe properly shit. I don't know. So yeah. DB, what do you think about Morrison having a place at QPR? I don't know what's going on with Morrison, I'll be honest. There's no comments on anything. He hasn't been seen on the media side, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back out on loan or sold. I know they have said, look, like I said, Julian's whole aspect this season is about Julian. Last season was hard because he needed to keep the players together, because you got to remember, you can't change a team in one transfer window, you know. So this season is all about Julian getting his players in that he wants to play his style. You know, we haven't even had any announcement of an assistant yet, so that's going to be interesting when that happens, and we go from there. So my opinion is this: whatever happens with Morrison, it's because Julian doesn't want him. Look, at the end of the day, he went out on loan, and I don't think he had a great loan spell. You know, there's people obviously going to be going this season, but we go from there. It's also, you got to remember, we're selling people to make some budget as well, so that we can bring players in. And that's the struggle at the moment of bringing certain players in, because if we focus on more on wages, for example, we need to release a lot of players or sell a lot of players to bring those wages up a bit more, so we can bring the better type of player in without saying, oh wait, okay, we can only afford 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever it is. So yeah, I don't want to chuck stupid wages away. I'd rather just get the right person in with the right wage. But at the end of the day, it's kind of hard in this day and age where you see stupid things like where Tottenham go and pay 85 million for a player that's been relegated twice. So it makes no sense. So yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on the World Cup, but still going to Washington tonight, Paul says. Buy Kramer from Millwall. Kramer to Teddy. Kramer's okay, but I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of his, man. I know Millwall completely have destroyed us last season, so yeah. MB didn't mean to send. That's fine, noise man. Paul says, on the World Cup, I meant, sorry. No, I know. Nick's delete the message. Teddy says, buy Kramer from Millwall for 20. Yeah, that's not happening. We're not spending 20 mil on a player, I'll tell you that. Seed says, the US is rigging the World Cup. They overturned the decision. Listen, look, this whole rigging thing, I'll be honest, it's all bullshit anyway. Look, at the end of the day, you got to look at it this way. The World Cup has brought in different referees and officials from different cultures and countries, so they all have a different aspect of what they do in their own country. So the refereeing decisions are gonna all be different than English refereeing, so I wouldn't worry about it at the end of the day. What's happening with Seller? Patrick says Seller's gone. I think Seller's gone. He has not been seen in the media of QPR, unless we'll find. Do you know what? We'll find out this week, because when they announce the team to go to Austria, we'll know if he's staying or going. So yeah. What do you think QPR transfer budget is? I don't think it's more of a transfer budget. I think it's more of a transfer wage budget, if that makes sense, Teddy. I think personally our wage is something that we look at a lot. It used to be 10 grand a week on players, where that's when Les was in charge. And obviously looking at the players that we're bringing in, like Ronnie and all of that, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just above our maximum of 20 grand. So yeah, Sam Field was probably on a lot of money as well, so you know, we got rid of that. So it looks good on our sense. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week. What do you think? We'll finish bottom half? Nah, we'll finish top 10. We'll finish definitely top 10 this season, Pete. I know I said that last season, but we'll definitely finish top 10. Look, Julian had an exceptional first season, in my opinion. You know, I know we finished in the same spot as last season, but with more points. But listen, look, we have to look positive and we have to look up to the future. We can't just sit here and say bad stuff about Julian right now. You know, I know a lot of people are gonna say if he loses a preseason game or what, sack him. We're gonna get that by a whole load of people. You know, I have my view on it. I'm keeping my view until the end of October. So yeah. If we get a right back, we still need another centre back, Nick says. Centre back wise, obviously Jimmy Dunn, but the thing is, think about it this way: if we get another right back, the best possible thing is Amadou Mbengue can play in his natural position of centre-back, in my opinion. So, yeah. That's the whole positive thing about it. Have you heard anything about Everton Santos? Sorry if I spelt the first name wrong. I think I have. Don't worry, I think I know who you're on about. I know who Everton Santos, what you mean. They return to the club, but I think they'll be sold. I personally think they will be sold. We got a lot of international players that will probably go from there. Paul, Teddy says, how much do you think you will spend this season? It'll only be maximum about 5 to 10 million, as always. It'll be 10 million max, I reckon. So yeah. I have faith in Julian for next season. Pete says, I'm glad you said that because I do too, and I don't think half of our chat does. So yeah. Unless we keep the 4-4-2. You gotta remember the 4-4-2, he said this, right? And I agree with him. With the players that we had at the time, it was the only formation that he could see that was the comfortablest when we had our injuries. So I can understand that completely. So yeah, but yeah, I agree. Look, I'm not a big fan of the 4-4-2, but it's an actual French formation in my opinion. So yeah, and that's why it's been used. So we need to invest in pushing for playoffs. Well, playoffs is top 8, so I think we can do that. I think we have a good squad now to do that. I just feel like it's possible to just make sure that we don't get any injuries, because that's what killed us, was injuries, in my opinion. I reckon we would have finished top 10 if we still had Burrell fit and ready. So yeah. Sign the best League One players again. No. Listen, look. There is players in League One that I would love to sign, but you got to remember we're only going to sign them if they're prospect of being a great championship player and further. And that's why we brought in Poku, because he's not just a great winger, but he's also good at what he does. You know, he's definitely a proven championship player, I would say. We should have asked good chances of getting those players we need with various outgoings. Nick says. I want Chair from QPR. Would you take? Mate, I would not sell Chair for 2.5. I would not even sell Chair for 10 mil. He's staying put, and that's all I care about. You know, at the end of the day, I want Chair at QPR. People don't realise this, but he's our biggest creative player for a while. And he is a very big influence in that club. You know, people look up to him. Young talent look up to him. And it's that simple. We'll win our first 4 games, Portsmouth, Bolton, Blackburn and Cardiff. Don't forget the League Cup game, Patrick, against Millwall. Be careful with that. Teddy, trust me, Chair isn't leaving QPR. He loves the club. Of course he does. You know, he's that pure Moroccan guy that loves that club. I would love to see Chair retire at QPR. It would be brilliant. But it's down to what the manager thinks of him. So, yeah. Anyway, listen, look. Great comments. But let's continue because it has been 34 minutes and we need to get going. So, next story. Right. We spoke about the keepers. We spoke about right backs. Next thing was, what was it again? What was we going to talk about? I've got to remember now. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, like I said, QPR have obviously starting their season off this week, Saturday, against I believe it was First Vienna. They will, and we go up against them on Saturday. We will hopefully be live for that as well. I'm just waiting for them to announce that we can watch it and pay for it, and we can do the watch alongs to the pre-season, which will be brilliant. But we do go for them, and obviously this week we'll be looking out for the team news when they announce who's going away to Austria. So it's going to be very interesting to see who jumps on that plane with QPR. A couple of youngsters obviously will be involved. We've seen a lot of videos in training sessions this week, which look pretty good. Paul Smith, mate, amazing player. And that's why I wanted to bring in Terry Devlin in for QPR. 2 Northern Islanders on the right wing. How about that? 2 Northern Islanders on the right side. Paul Smith and Terry Devlin. How sick would that be? Come on, boys. Come on. Come on. Look, chat. If you're telling me that's not a combination to succeed, come on. Hit the like button for that, for crying out loud. Terry Devlin at right back, Paul Smith at right mid. Come on. Look, let's do it. Let's get it done. 3-4 mil down there, Portsmouth. Come on, let's bring him in. It'll be a great combination for these two. World-class players here, man. Come on. Let's do it. Come on. I only just thought about that now as well. Whoa. See, bro, my friend. Did you watch him last season? Smith was on some sort of amazing I don't know what he was doing. He was madness last season. Do not diss Paul Smith. Let's be honest, right? Paul Smith is a player for QPR. This guy is a die-hard QPR player. Never stops running. Never stops. He continues and all goes forward, and that's why I love the player. You know, for a guy for his height and obviously his size, he's absolutely astonishing. Honestly, he's a proven championship player in my opinion, a proven championship QPR player, and he should stay. And whether he plays on the right or the left, I'm not fussed. As long as he stays next season, he's gonna kill it next season. So yeah, but do you know what? That's what I wanted to talk about. So, I put a short out the other day of Madsen, Nicholas Madsen. Now, we need to build around Nicholas Madsen. We really do. Honestly, Madsen is going to be the main man in the next couple of seasons. You know, Jimmy Dunn might not be at this club for much longer if he performs really well as a captain. Whether he wants to stay, whether he wants to go, whether a club go in for him. But at the end of the day, Madsen is our future. You know, Madsen looks like he's going to be a captain for us one day if he stays. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams go in for him. You know, he had an exceptional first season with Julian last season. This season, I'm hoping a great start again with him. But we need to see what he does, because we need to get someone in to work with him. Honestly, we need someone to work with Madsen so bad. You know, Madsen is a very good box-to-box midfielder, creative guy in midfield. And what we need to do right now is focus on getting someone in that can work with him in the midfield. Or bringing someone that from the youth academy. Look, Kieran Morgan's there. I don't know what's going to happen with him this season to work with him. You know, we got Varane still. Madsen's gone. I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of weeks, we will be starting to approach some players and go from there. But Madsen, to me, is the one that we need to focus on next season. You know, whether he becomes a captain or not, I think Jimmy Dunn still does it. Whether he becomes vice-captain, Madsen, in my opinion, he is the guy that's going to be our main man in midfield. He is the one that's going to kill it for us. He's the one that's going to get us promoted. If not next season, well, I'm hoping next season, but whatever happens in the next couple of seasons, you know, if we can keep hold of him, he's going to be a big price tag to sell. And I know people are going to look at that, but I really wish I really wish he would stay at QPR, personally. I really enjoy watching him. I think he's an exceptional talent, Madsen. But yeah, I really hope to see him going into the Premier League with QPR, and Julian into the Premier League as well. You know, we have something good that we're building on, and this season is all about Julian, in my opinion. You know, we need to get the right players around in every position, and I think we will start seeing something really beautiful at QPR. You know, I'm probably going to eat my words in the next couple of weeks. People are probably going to hate me for saying all this stuff, but listen, for what I saw last season with Julian's attack, I'm thinking positive thoughts on this one. So yeah, yeah, I would like to see Isaac get more game time, but maybe a loan would suit him better. To be honest, I don't even think a loan he needs a loan, because we bought him from a proven European Championship club, and he did score against Chelsea in the Conference League, I believe. So I think he might be ready. You know, it's big talk. He is in a development squad, so we see from there. But apart from Madsen, I think the only thing we talk about is outgoings. Maybe, like I said, Seller looks like he's going. There's no information on Morrison, Esquidina, Santos, all of these guys. I reckon they'll probably be leaving soon. So yeah, I reckon we're gonna have a busy market in the next couple of weeks. Let's stay focused on that, and yeah, pretty much look forward to whatever rumours come out. Like I said, main aspects is defensive right back, in my opinion. We need the right backs, the midfield, and I don't think we need a winger, but if we do, then, you know, we go from there. I can't think of any other transfer news that I can think of at the moment. You know, Solomon has just signed a new contract with QPR, which is great for him, so congratulations. Steve Cook has left, obviously officially joined Wickham, but he did leave QPR a while ago. And I think that's it, really. I think that's it. Let's have a look at the comments from what we left from. Chair as QPR manager 2040. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Chair will go down as a QPR legend in my book. Yep, I agree. Is he almost in the top 10 most appearances now? I think he is. Check QPR plus. How old is Chair? Chair's almost 30. Yeah, can't wait till we get back to the watch-alongs, Paul says. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. We've got some big things coming. Smith isn't a star. Let's be real. Smith is way a star. I think we read that already. Dembele breakthrough next season. It's hard to say with Dembele just because of his injuries. Look, I rate Dembele, but the problem is when you get an ACL injury, it stays ACL injury. You know, it's very hard to mend. You know, he looks like he's back in training. He looks happy. He looks well. And hopefully he can stay fit. But the problem is with ACL, it only takes one turn or something like that for it to go again. So yeah. Our attack is top 10 in the league, Pete says. I agree. Generally fixed defense and playoffs is 100%, Seed says. Isaac could be a starter soon. Our attack is top 6. I agree. The defense is bottom 6. Our defense is not great, but I don't know whether that's to do with player quality or team quality in the sense of coaches. So yeah. We can't get backed by teams next season. Too many heavy defeats last season. You know, the heaviest defeats were obviously from the clubs that pretty much got promoted. You know, my worry is this. You know, West Ham is going to be a bit of a worry. Burnley as well. And also Wolves. So the bottom 3 will be a worrying thing next season. I am dreading it a lot. I don't see it being a positive sign. But it would be great if we go into the season looking at it and see something different from last season. You know, I want to see us on the attack a lot more. I want our defense to be a lot better next season. I want us to improve in being that club that really wants to push for the playoffs, in my opinion. You know, I think we can do it. I think we have the right mentality, the right manager, head coach, whatever you want to call him. It's just coaching staff. I don't know what the coaching staff is like. The fitness coaching staff is ridiculous, in my opinion. It needs to be sorted out. But I got good hopes for next season. I really do. And I'm probably going to say this every season. But until I see something goes shambles, then I'll go to you and agree with certain things. So yeah. But I'm looking forward to Saturday. I really am. Hopefully you lot are. I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait to get back to football with QPR. I've missed it. I know you guys have. We might have a bigger fan base, well, bigger chat going now with the watch-alongs. So yeah. So we'll see what happens. West Rocky says if we get no injuries, we get top 10. I honestly believe we get top 10 still. I just feel like we need to bring in a couple of players to make sure that we have cover in the depth if we do lose it in that area. You know, I think we're going to do exceptionally well. I think we did exceptionally well last season. Like I said, if we didn't have the injuries, if you think about it, when we had Marty Fuentes got us into the top 6 once and then dropped back down. With Julian, he put us constantly in the start, like I would say twice in the top 10, and we got into the playoffs. So I would say he's more of a positive move for us in the future. And I just think what we need to look at as fans is that we can't give grief to something so much because it's a building process, you know. We're not a great team. Like I said this, we're not a great team at the moment. We haven't been proven to be great, you know. And Julian's the only one that can fix that. And as long as we can get the defense right and the creativity going and the attack scoring, we have a good establishment to be going up next season if that happens. But we got to be more realistic with what we think, you know, as all fans do, you know. So yeah, patience is the key to football, man. It's not a rush, you know. Man City tried to rush the way to get to the title, in my opinion, but you know, money to me, money doesn't change football, but using money in the right ways can change it a lot. So yeah, we need to be way more with the defense. A very good goalkeeper would make us good as we should be. Yeah, looking forward to the season under Julian. Paul says, like I said, man, I'm excited for it. I can't wait till Saturday. I'm off on Friday to make sure that certain things are ready for it. In fact, let's have a look. Make sure we can actually they've got it on for us. So there's currently no matches. Oh wait, hang on. Oh wait, hang on a minute. Hang on. Give me a second. Hang on. We may have something here. Give me a second, people. I may give you some news right now. Let's have... Oh, God. They didn't recognize me. Okay. Let's try again. Okay. Fair enough. They didn't recognize me there. There we go. Right. We're in. Right. So let me have a look at this quickly on here. So... Yes, we probably can do it. We probably can do it. I think we can do it. I think we can. It looks like pre-season pass is up. It's £25 for pre-season. Watch all 6 of QPR's pre-season fixtures live on QPR Plus for £25. You can get annual live audio pass pretty much for the season for £45 a year, and monthly live audio pass for £5 a month. So go for it, man. I would say grab it. Honestly, it's only £25 to watch all 6 games. Not bad if I say it. What time is the game on Saturday? Let's have a look what time it is. So this game will kick off at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday the 11th of July. So do you know what, we'll probably be live from 5 p.m. We can get a lot of talking going on. I want to try and get on earlier for you guys so that we can have a good chat as well next season, or this season I should say, for the watch along, so that we can do something, pretty much talk about everything and go on from there. You know, obviously I know we only spoke about small things when obviously we started this watch along stuff, and yeah, so yeah, we'll see what happens, but we'll definitely be live for Saturday as long as it doesn't change right now. So yeah, lads, the audio pass is here for free. That's very true. That's pretty true, unless you want to hear good old Tyler and Sinton. You know, I love Tyler and Sinton. I think they're brilliant. You know, I think they're brilliant, honestly. Nick, noise, mate. You have a great evening, mate. Nick, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. But we're coming close to the hour now. I think we covered all aspects of today's latest news, transfer rumours for QPR. Like I said, Joe Walsh looks like he's going to Wigan on loan. Murphy Cooper possibly could be our second choice. We might have a potentially right back coming in this week, potentially. News this week of who's going to Austria. And we also have Saturday live. So, thank you guys for tuning in for today. We got some big things going on this week, and we'll also be live next on Saturday and Sunday. We'll keep our latest news obviously on Sunday as well, so we'll be live twice in 2 days. But apart from that, all of you guys, Paul, Nick, Patrick as always, Westall Pete, Paul if I've missed that one, Pete, I think I've said that, Teddy, thank you for tuning in. Who else we have here? I think that is it. Yes, that is it. So thank you guys for the chats in chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch you Saturday. We will live, and Foley hopefully will be there. Fingers crossed. It is 5:30, so he finishes work I think around about that time, so fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. So shout out to Foley as always. Ryan, Pete, all of you guys, man. You're all legends in my book for this channel. So yeah, but don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to, and we'll catch you real soon. Peace, love, positive as always. You know how it is, guys, and we'll catch you soon. Cheers, people. Have a lovely evening.